In addressing what kind of equipment you need, I'm going to provide information for both beginners and advanced students. A teacher will help you navigate all of this information, so don't feel overwhelmed. And like I mentioned in the last section, many online teachers are happy to provide a free consultation. So you can usually find out just by meeting them whether or not your equipment is good enough, and if it's not, they'll be happy to help you navigate exactly what changes you need to make. From beginner to advanced, I would say that the camera and microphone on a laptop, in addition to headphones, is more than adequate. For better quality, you can upgrade your headphones and webcam, and I will provide some specifics on all this equipment coming up soon. I don't recommend using a cell phone or a tablet because there's always issues with screen size, with getting the right angle for your camera, and with using online tools together. Bear in mind you don't need highly expensive equipment, so balance your budget with your needs and don't feel pressure to spend a ton of money to get set up. If you need help with this, there's plenty of people out there who can help you. Whether it's people on forums online, a worker at the shop who sells this equipment, whether you have a friend who knows their way around this stuff, or your teacher, there's lots of options for getting advice about how to navigate this stuff. It's basically one of those things that you need to know what you need to know, but you don't need to know everything on video streaming. If you're a more advanced student, you're going to benefit from higher quality equipment, and the general principle is that your needs grow as your skills grow. Alright, let's get a little bit more technical. Don't get scared. It's nothing too crazy. First, we're going to discuss cameras. You don't need the best, but don't buy the cheapest camera. There are some really bad ones on the market. And cameras basically stream. Generally, you're going to see these two resolutions, 720p and 1080p. Image resolution refers to how high a quality image you're going to send. Zoom and Skype can stream 1080p, and Google Meet is capped at 720p. But I would say 720p is plenty for online lessons, so don't worry about getting a camera that goes beyond that unless you want that for your own personal use. You might use it for video recording as well or something like that. If you want to see the difference between 720 and 1080p, you can pull up a YouTube video that's recorded at 1080p, and then you select the image resolution by pulling up the settings cog, and you'll see the different resolutions that are available. So just search for a video that's high res, is what it's called, and tons of things will pop up. Pick one that interests you. Manually set it to 720p, watch 10 or 20 seconds, and then manually set it to 1080p, watch 10 or 20 seconds, and you'll see the difference right away. It's a pretty big difference, but if you're streaming lessons, you don't need 1080p. It's much more than you need. You're also going to see something on cameras called FPS, or frames per second, and that refers to how many frames get recorded every second. 30 is a really common standard, and I wouldn't even worry about going beyond that. Some cameras go up to 60 frames per second, which is twice as much. However, Zoom, Skype, and Google Meet all are limited to 30 frames per second. So if you're concerned about streaming lessons, there's no point in going beyond 30. But if you want to do some video recording, then by all means, go for it. The next topic I'm going to cover is headphones. It's really, really important to have headphones because otherwise you can get audio coming out of your speakers and getting picked up by your microphone, and it creates a loop, which can create feedback. It's really obnoxious, but it also provides much more quality hearing. You're going to be able to hear much more clearly when you have headphones on, which makes a difference just because of the challenges that come up with doing online lessons. You want to be able to see well and you want to be able to hear well. There are three main types of headphones. You've got on-ear, over-ear, and earbuds. I'm going to start with over-ear. Over-ear headphones are headphones that go around your outer ear. So this would completely cup the cartilage coming off of my ear here. They prevent sound leakage, which means they prevent sound from getting in very well. So when I'm in a lesson, I'm not going to hear a lot of other noise around me. They're comfortable because they're usually padded really well. And the one big drawback I would say they have is that they tend to heat up if I'm teaching lessons for 2 or 3 hours, they start to get really warm, and that can be a little uncomfortable. But other than that, I would say they work very, very well. Another option is on-ear headphones, and that would be where that pad actually rests on top of your ear's cartilage. I personally get a lot of discomfort very quickly. It starts to hurt very badly for me when I wear those, and they don't prevent sound leakage nearly as well. If you're going to be doing lessons for half an hour or an hour, usually the heat issue isn't an issue with over-ear, so I feel like over-ear tends to overshadow on-ear in just about every respect. In regard to earbuds, I recommend against them in general. There are many studies that show that they can cause long-term hearing loss. And while I'm on the subject, I would say regardless of whether you use on-ear, over-ear, or earbuds, never ever deliberately use your headphones to drown out sound around you. That is a recipe for destroying your hearing. Microphones. A medium quality webcam will have a good enough microphone for lessons. So don't worry about having to buy some complex setup. But if you do want to record for videos, then by all means you can buy a nicer microphone. And nowadays they actually have microphones where the microphone plugs directly into your computer with a USB cable, which saves you the trouble of having a mixing board and all of that, which many people wouldn't even have a use for outside of what they're doing. So that can be a simple solution if you're into that. But if you're doing lessons, then a medium to good quality webcam is going to be more than adequate for doing online lessons. One other factor is turn on your high fidelity audio setting. In Zoom, if you go to your audio options, there is an option to do high fidelity audio, and that's just going to send much more high quality signal. It's not going to break up and cut off as much, trying to catch when you're speaking and when you're not. And it's going to just sound much better for your teacher, and they'll be able to hear more clearly. So check if your meeting software has some sort of setting like that in the audio settings.